Hey guys, I'm Elise.
And I'm Malia.
And today we are reviewing the January 2018 Book of the Month selections.
Books, we love books. Book of the Month is a subscription box that sends you curated options. You have 5 choices every month, and they are hand-picked options by different judges. And you pick your book, and it is shipped to your house in hardcover for $14.99 a month. But if you can't make a decision and you need 2 books, you can add the additional book for $9.99 a month.
Or 3 books. You can add up to 2 books for $9.99 each.
And they all have their custom Book of the Month cover. The other cool thing about Book of the Month is sometimes books come out there first. I think As Bright as Heaven is actually a Book of the Month exclusive for January, and then it's released more widely later. And I know we have Red Clocks before it's actually hit shelves. So
Wow.
It's pretty exciting. I'm excited about this month. So this is As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner. In 1918 Philadelphia, in a city teeming with promise. Even as its young men go off to fight in the Great War, there are opportunities for a fresh start on its cobblestone streets. Into this bustling town come Pauline Bright and her husband, filled with the hope that they could now give their 3 daughters, Evelyn, Maggie, and Willa, a better chance at life. Their dreams are short-lived. Just months after they arrive, the Spanish flu reaches the shores of North America. As the pandemic claims more than 12,000 victims in their adopted city, Pauline and her family find themselves in a world that looks nothing like the one they knew. But even as they lose loved ones, they take in a baby, orphaned by the disease, who becomes their single source of hope. Amidst the tragedy and challenges that surround them, they learn what they cannot live without and what they're willing to do about it. I can't decide. If I were subscribing, I probably would not choose this as my book, but since I have it in my hands, I'll probably read it. I've read some really interesting novels that discuss, especially adversity in the time of plague, which luckily we don't face now. And it looks like it could just be an interesting story about resilience and grit and hope.
So it's kind of historical fiction, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, early Philadelphia. And I also really like the early America era.
I don't know why.
Yeah, Elise does not. She's not into that at all. But I think it's really interesting when you look at, the 20s. Like, that's the Great Depression, and the world just was so different. And I think it'll be an interesting one.
Okay. Next up we have Red Clocks.
I'm excited. I'm going to run away with it in my hands as soon as this video is done.
5 women, 1 question. What is a woman for? In this ferociously imaginative novel, abortion is once again illegal in America, in vitro fertilization is banned, and the Personhood Amendment grants rights of life, liberty, and property to every embryo. In a small Oregon fishing town, 5 very different women navigate these new barriers alongside age-old questions surrounding motherhood, identity, and freedom. Ro, a single high school teacher, is trying to have a baby on her own while also writing a biography of Ivor, a little-known 19th century female polar explorer. Susan is a frustrated mother of 2, trapped in a crumbling marriage. Maddie is the adopted daughter of doting parents and one of Ro's best students, who finds herself pregnant with nowhere to turn. And Jen is the gifted forest-dwelling herbalist, or mender, who brings all their fates together when she's arrested and put on trial in a frenzied modern-day witch hunt. Yeah, this is my number 1 pick.
If I were subscribing, that's definitely what I would choose. Out of all of them, that's the one that really speaks to me. Women's issues are really interesting, and I like this sort of speculative fiction.
Well, and I love that it's like a story of hope. Like my issue, not an issue with The Handmaid's Tale, but the reason I wasn't like crazy about watching it was because it was just so depressing.
This is The Woman in the Window. It isn't paranoia if it's really happening. Anna Fox lives alone, a recluse in her New York City home, unable to venture outside. She spends her days drinking wine, maybe too much, watching old movies, recalling happier times, and spying on her neighbors. Then the Russells move into the house across the way. A father, a mother, their teenage son. The perfect family. But when Anna, gazing out her window one night, sees something she shouldn't, her world begins to crumble, and its shocking secrets are laid bare. What is real? What is imagined? Who is in danger? Who is in control? In this diabolically gripping thriller, no one and nothing is what it seems. I think this will be good.
Gillian Flynn is Gone Girl, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
And she
if she says it's good.
But this basically sounds like a novelization of Rear Window, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie, except set in modern times and with a female protagonist instead of Jimmy Stewart. So I think it's got potential.
It's not for me. I don't like murder mysteries, and that's my biggest gripe with Book of the Month is they include like at least 3 murder mysteries in every single shipment. So
It does seem like they're heavy on the
Yeah.
mystery thriller.
ever since I started doing these videos,
Other
I don't know.
people like that though.
Yeah.
So
Next we have Two Girls Down by Luisa Luna. It's a mother's worst nightmare. Jamie Brandt's 2 young daughters, Kylie and Bailey, disappear without a trace from a strip mall parking lot in their hometown of Denville, Pennsylvania. The devastated family hires Alice Vega, a former bounty hunter whose intellect is matched only by her relentless determination to get results. Immediately shut out by a contentious police department stretched thin by budget cuts and the growing Oxycontin and meth epidemics, Vega partners with a former cop, Max Kaplan, to help her navigate the local scene. She will go to any length to follow the slippery trail of the missing girls, no matter where it leads, and to bring them home before they are lost forever. I think this sounds interesting.
all I can think is if it were a Sandra Brown romance novel, which it could very easily be,
Ooh,
is that the ex-cop and the bounty hunter are totally gonna get together.
I'm fine with that.
But I don't know if that'll happen. We haven't read it.
I would just want someone to read this before me and tell me whether or not the girls end up like dead and like their bodies or, yeah, I don't like that. Just let me know if it's a happy ending and then I'll read it. So guys, if you're watching and this is the book you chose, please comment and tell me how it ends. Or just find me on social media. I'm at Emily's Williams.
Yeah, holler at her, let her know if it's safe, and then she'll read it.
Yep.
So this is our last one. I've also noticed they do tend to include one like more romancy, lighthearted as well.
Lighthearted is a good word.
So this is The Music Shop. It is 1988 on a dead-end street in a rundown suburb. There's a music shop that stands small and brightly lit, jam-packed with records of every kind. Frank, the shop's owner, has a way of connecting his customers with just the piece of music they need. Then, one day, into his shop comes a beautiful young woman, Ilsa Brockman, who asks Frank to teach her about music. Terrified of real closeness, Frank feels compelled to turn and run. Yet he is drawn to this strangely still, mysterious woman with eyes as black as vinyl. Can a man who is so in tune with other people's needs be so incapable of connecting with the one person who might save him? The journey that these two quirky, wonderful characters make in order to overcome their emotional baggage speaks to the healing power of music and love in this poignant, ultimately joyful work of fiction.
Can you call your own characters wonderful in the book synopsis?
I
feel like that's up for us to judge.
I think the editors probably write the book synopsis.
I don't like that.
But we're gonna give this author in the book the benefit of the doubt. Maybe their editor wrote that and they're not actually.
Maybe they are
Making a
wonderful,
thing.
but I'm not gonna read the book to find out.
Yeah, I feel like it would be really good for someone who just really likes music.
That whole synopsis, I don't feel like we got enough info. I'm not intrigued.
I think it would be interesting.
I like that it's not a murder mystery.
Yes.
So I'm a fan of that. But what would your number one choice be? Which one would you pick?
Red Clocks.
Same.
For sure.
We're gonna fight over this one.
I wouldn't be surprised if Red Clocks turns out to be like the next big thing. Because
Yeah.
the power.
The Power was from the October box, and that was my pick. I'm still working my way through it, but Obama recommended it. It's like a huge
the new
deal.
thing.
Yeah, so I think this is gonna be next, especially if they're comparing it to The Handmaid's Tale. That was huge.
And Book of the Month is really good for if you want to keep your like finger on the pulse of literary fiction to kind of
Yeah.
see what's new and what's going to be the next big thing.
So comment below, tell us which book you picked this month, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.